Red Line Logbook here for the Gray Man's Search for Alan Walker arc, part 3. And we're starting off where we left off with the Millennium Earl going insane because Nia keeps calling him Mana over and over again. And the Earl is trying to oppress those memories because the Earl doesn't want to admit the truth that he is the one who murdered Nia. As this is happening, that's when a bunch of crows appear to capture Alan, and they activate a bunch of talismans, pinning down Nia. The crows push the Millennium Earl out of the way because they don't recognize him, and that's when Nia realizes, oh shit, the Earl is about to go berserk, and he tries to warn these men to run away, to get away from the Earl, but he's too late. A white thing stabs through the brain of one of the men, and he dissolves into light. The other man assumes that it's actually Alan, but Nia's like, no, that wasn't me, it was him. And when he looks, the Earl is currently putting on his costume, the fat clown thing, and so the crow finally recognizes him as the Earl. He shoots his gun at him, and the bullets have no effect. The Earl then says, well, I can't let you go since you've seen my true face. Nia's like, you need to run. Go now. The guy finally listens to him and starts running away. But once again, the Earl has no interest in letting this man escape. He shoots that thing again. The man tries to use his barrier shield to block it, but it pierces straight through, goes into the man, and once again he dissolves into light. The Earl then says delicious, because he just consumed this man, and not just this man, but his soul. Nia then begins to think what he was told from a friend of his. He doesn't tell us who this friend is, but this friend told him that your body is nothing more than a vessel for your soul, and your soul is a creation of the helix of life. All things come from the helix of life, and when your vessel is destroyed, your body, your soul returns back to the helix of life. The helix of life is the thing that causes evolution. It is what allows for the potential of life and existence itself. Basically, it's existence in a nutshell, in a very metaphorical and transcendentic way. But most importantly, the human soul is the most powerful version of the helix of life. This is why humans can do so much and accomplish such great deeds. But unfortunately, the Millennium Earl has the ability to devour these souls, to devour the helix of life. Nia also got stabbed through by one of these tendrils the Earl used to eat people's souls, and he asked if the Millennium Earl plans on eating him too. And Millennium Earl, once again, is just going nuts, basically still arguing that he is not Mana, but he does know where Mana is. He's in a place that can never be found. Basically what he's saying is he suppressed his other personality, Mana, to the point where he does not exist anymore. But Nia is not going to let the Earl oppress these memories. He points out that Alan found Mana, which is you, and that was the whole point, is that Mana was supposed to reunite with Alan this whole time, so Nia and the Millennium Earl could reunite this whole time. And the Earl's like, shut up, stop saying that, quit it, no more. He just doesn't want any reason to admit that he is Mana. The Earl then gives into his rage and decides he's going to kill Nia. Fortunately, Link is there to save him, and Nia does not know that Link is alive. In fact, he doesn't even remember his name. All he remembers is that he was there to basically sent by headquarters to murder Alan, and so he's a little bit confused on what's going on right now. Link then activates a barrier around the Millennium Earl, completely pinning him down. Nia's actually impressed because to be able to pin down Mana, his brother, is on a whole other level of power. Link then grabs Johnny and Nia and gets out of there. It's a rough way to go because he's using everything he has to hold back the Millennium Earl. So Nia just gets bounced around like a ball the entire time they're running away. Link then suggests now that they have a chance they should run away and escape as far as they can. And Nia, being Nia, decides, okay, I can use this. I remember his name, it's Link. I'll pretend to be Alan right now and just be super excited he's alive and cry and do all the things that Alan does. At least until I get a chance to basically kill this dude and leave. So while Nia is pretending to be Alan, blubbering over the fact that Link is alive, Link just doesn't care. He examines Alan's body. He sees that he's wounded from being stabbed by the Earl, but it didn't hit any vital organs. He then activates the Etuda to start healing Alan. And while this is happening, the real Alan is still stuck in his mind, stuck inside of Nia's world, the Graham Bell home, the giant mansion with the large golden field. It doesn't take Alan very long to figure out that he is in fact in Nia's memory, which means Nia has taken over his body. And now Alan is very concerned because the last thing he remembers is basically running away with Johnny from the Millennium Earl. So now he's scared that Johnny might have been killed either by Nia or the Earl. As Alan is consumed by his grief, he then turns into a child, and before him appears his master, or some kind of memory of his master at least. He informs Alan that this is his final destination. This is where he will disappear. Alan basically argues that if he can learn about the 14th, if he can figure out the truth, maybe he can do something to stop it. And Cross's response is, what does it matter what you learn about the 14th? In the end, this is your fate. He tells Alan that he can resist, but the more he does that, the more he will suffer. That the best thing he can do is just accept his fate and disappear. And that he just doesn't want Alan to suffer. While he is a terrible human being for working with the 14th to sacrifice Alan, he generally does care for him, and he doesn't want him to suffer at the end. And so Cross reaches out his hand and basically offers Alan a chance to not suffer, a chance just to accept his fate and disappear so he doesn't have to continue suffering. And Alan, in this weak moment, begins to actually reach out his hand and accept his fate, but then the memory of Lena Lee appears in his head, the memory of when she was begging him to stop, to stay in the order, and he promised he would return. He'd always be their friend. And Alan then tells Cross that he will not just roll over and disappear, and that he will do as he promised to Mana, to his friends, to Lena Lee, to his master Cross. He will keep walking forward. Cross then lectures Alan a bit, but for the most part he's happy he made this choice. He smiles, and he points to the mansion and tells Alan to find Catherine Eve Campbell. After telling Alan to find this woman, he then disappears, and this makes Alan think to himself, was that really an illusion? Or did Cross really just show up to guide me? At that moment, that is when we see Rhode in her very tiny, insignificant form that's on the verge of disappearing, and she is scared. Not of dying, no. What she fears is Alan. Apparently, Alan is a ticking time bomb in a sense. She says we are being used by them, and she doesn't clarify who them is, but whoever they are, they're a threat to Nia. And we get another hint about the fact that Cross might be alive, where Rhode then says, hopefully, he will stay asleep for a little bit longer. Then we jump over to the real Campbell residence, or at least the former Campbell residence, and there we meet an old lady named Jo and a little girl named Lucia. And with Lucia is a black Tim Campy called Rue Campy. Lucia then informs Jo that Bookman has awoken. Jo then gets all excited, picks Lucia up, and starts running towards the mansion. Lucia then asks, since Bookman Jr. wasn't with him and is probably dead, which is not good for Robbie, does this mean if Bookman dies, since he's an old man, all the history that his clan has passed down for generations will now disappear? And Jo's response is, no, I don't think that will happen. I believe he's coming, and that's why Bookman showed up here. So yeah, all answers will be given once Alan finally makes it to the Campbell mansion. Back with Alan, he finally has a goal, finally has a place to walk towards. Unfortunately, he needs his body back to do that. So Alan is now trying to think of a way to take back his body from Nia, but he just can't think of anything. That is when he hears the voice of Johnny, and everything Johnny was telling him before, that this is his place, this is his home, this was where he can always return to. And Alan then realizes just how Akuma's souls are able to be brought back by the Earl when a loved one begs for them to return. The connection between two souls is the most powerful. And so, as long as Alan tries to move towards his friends, tries to move towards all the people he cares about and loves, then he can have his soul take back his body. And so Alan moved towards his friends. While that's happening, right now Link is devoting himself to Nia. And Nia is creeped out by this. He thinks it's very weird and uncomfortable that anyone would do such a thing. Link then points out that you died 35 years ago and spent that time possessing another person's body so you could take them over. Pretty sure that's creepier. Yeah, Nia does not take that kindly, and now is just getting pissed off at Link. He basically puts his hand around his throat, threatening to kill him, and basically telling him, I have no interest in working with a human. I hate humans. And Link points out that Cross is a human, and this just makes Nia even more pissed off because he says, I was in a desperate situation. I had to work with that bastard. Which, I feel like a lot of people say that when it comes to Cross. Everyone seems to hate his guts. And so Nia points out, while I had to work with Cross, I have no need for you. And so I could just kill you now. And Link says, well, I think you do need me, because you're being chased by that monster that looks like a priest, right? And that thing just killed Tim Campy. Hearing that Tim Campy is dead actually brings genuine fear and surprise onto Nia, and he has no way of responding to that. Fiddler then pops out of nowhere and attacks Link. After Link blocks the attack, Fiddler then demands that Link release the Millennium Earl. Link's response is, yeah, well, even if you didn't tell me to do that, he's already been released. As soon as you attacked me, I had to lose focus on his restraints. And Link's not lying, because we get to see the Millennium Earl being released from the barrier, and he falls into the arms of Wisely. The Millennium Earl then starts to cry at Wisely, saying that Nia has gone mad and that he's not Mana. Wisely is trying to comfort him, basically saying, you need to go to sleep right now. You're too stressed. As for Tiki Meek, he's like, Mana. Where have I heard that name before? Wisely then opens up a portal in the Ark, and they start to sink, disappear. As that happening, Nia is able to sense this. He rushes over to the rooftop where he sees them slowly going away, and he calls out to Mana, saying that he'll meet him soon, and next time he'll kill him. Tiki Meek then stands between the two of them, glares at Nia, ready to fight. Wisely then tells Tiki Meek that they need to go. Tiki Meek's response is, just give me a second, but when I do get back there, you're going to tell me all about this Mana. And Wisely's like, well, eventually you'll remember anyway, so I might as well tell you, because this involves not just Nia, but you as well, what happened 35 years ago. And right before he's fully sucked into the portal, the Millennium Earl reaches out to Nia one last time. Tiki Meek is clearly pissed. He jumps up to where Alan's at, or Nia. First off, he doesn't like Alan, and he doesn't like the 14th, so in this situation, he's really hate-filled, and he basically invites Nia to having dinner with the family one last time. While that's going on, Link is still dealing with Fiddler, so while in the middle of the fight, Fiddler's like, hey, why are you attacking me? And Link's like, you attacked me? And Fiddler's like, yeah, but you already let the Earl go, and he's gone, so I have no reason to fight anymore, so I guess we're done. Link is like, what the hell is wrong with you, Noah? But then something absurd happens that no one saw coming. Nia starts to activate Alan's innocence. Nia is a Noah. Activating innocence means he's going to kill himself, basically. Or at least turn into a fallen. Both Link and Tiki Meek are kind of freaking out about this because that's just insane. But Nia is kind of pissed off at this point because he's tired of everyone basically trying to say that they're his friends and family. And the worst part is that the Noah keep calling him 14th. And the reason why being called the 14th is pissing him off is because the previous generation of Noah, 35 years ago, called him that as an insult. It was basically a way of isolating him from the rest of the Noah. And so he makes sure that everyone there, let it be Tiki Meek, Link, whatever, hear that his real name is Nia D. Campbell, not 14th. Then he looks at Tiki Meek and he says, on top of that, Joe D., that reincarnated form of yours, if I had a meal with you, I would cause me to spit up my food. Tiki Meek is a little confused for a second. He's like, what are you talking about? And at that moment, a repressed memory appears in his head. He doesn't know what it is, but the Noah inside of him begins to flare up. So saying that I would spit up the food I ate is a quote that Nia either said 35 years ago or Tiki Meek said 35 years ago, but somebody said it, and it's connected to something horrific. That's when Nia finally activates Alan's Crown Clown. Link starts freaking out, saying, you can't do this, you're going to die, you're a Noah. Tiki Meek is also like, holy crap, he's serious, he's really doing this. And so everyone realizes what's about to happen is not going to be good for anyone involved, period. Link thinks the only option he has left is to create a barrier to bind Nia, but he doesn't have to, because at that moment, Johnny wakes up and he calls out to Alan. Nia looks at Johnny with his golden eyes, and Johnny can realize in that moment that that's not Alan. But that's all Alan needed. He just needed someone to call out to him, and at that moment, he's able to take back his body. The transfer of consciousness causes a moment of unconsciousness for Alan's body. He falls. Johnny doesn't even hesitate. He just jumps to catch Alan, who's falling like 4 stories. Like, there's no way Johnny can survive this. But of course, Alan is taking back his body. He takes back his consciousness. He activates Clown Crown, and he's able to save both of them. Alan then thanks Johnny for being his beacon, and the two then can celebrate the return of Alan. And so while Alan and Johnny are celebrating Alan returning to the real world, returning to his body, Tiki Meek just appears behind the two of them. He grabs Alan by the head, looks him in the eyes to see if his golden eyes are still there. He goes, so you are the kid again. And Alan's response is to immediately just fucking flip the dude over and slam him into the concrete. Tiki Meek's only response is, you're actually worse than the 14th. And Alan's like, why are you even here? And he goes, well, I was inviting the 14th to dinner. And Alan's like, what? No, go away. Go back to where you came from. I have no interest in being around you. Tiki Meek stands up, dusts himself off, and says, well, we've already caught a pack of us, so you're the only one left, so I'm going to take you home with me. He then moves in to grab Alan, but that's when Konda shows up. Tiki Meek then tries to counter Konda, but instead of being killed, plants start to wrap around his body. And then Konda turns completely white, his mouth opens up, and is basically charging up a laser. And that's when everyone realizes, that's not Konda, that is the paint innocence of General Jefferson Tydal. Tiki Meek then gets blasted by a laser. After the massive explosion, Alan and Johnny are then wrapped up by Tydal's innocence as well. The way they get trapped is inside of a cart made from his paint. It's literally a horse and cart. Alan and Johnny then start freaking out because they have just officially been captured by the Order. Tiki Meek then stands back up after being blasted. The horse and cart are already gone, so he can't really do anything about that. But he does remember where he heard the name Mana before, and he realizes that's the name that Alan mentioned back on the Ark. So Tiki Meek is starting to put together the pieces of the past. As for Alan and Johnny, they're currently trying to rip their way out of the cart, but the thing is, it's not a real cart. It's made from Tydal's innocence, and so it is solid. They are trapped. They have been captured by the Order, or at least that's what they think. It is then revealed that Tydal is with Konda. And so, this is the end of the arc, where we get the official final team of Alan Walker. Alan, Konda, Johnny, Tydal, and Link. These 5 men will now learn the truth of what happened 35 years ago, and the truth of the war that has been going on for the last 7,000 years. Or at least, that's the hope. Until next time, please subscribe, give a thumbs up so you enjoy more D. Gray Man and other anime things. Thank you, and have a great day.